Good afternoon, everyone. It's Michelle here from Toronto Right to Life. I hope you guys have been tuning in and enjoying the videos and live streams that we've been sharing as part of this year's Toronto March for Life Life Week. This afternoon, I have the honor and privilege to interview Mary Helen Moes, the Executive Director of Aid to Women. She has been working tirelessly to help mothers and children, especially those who are in difficult circumstances. And she continues to do that work even during a pandemic. Aid to Women is a crisis pregnancy center in downtown Toronto, and they're right beside an abortion clinic. And because of that, because of their location, they have a unique opportunity to reach those who are scheduled for an abortion. Mary Helen is here with me today to share what it's like to work in a crisis pregnancy center. Hi, Mary Helen. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well as well. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate that you could be here.
Thanks for inviting me.
It's our pleasure. Just to get us started, if you don't mind sharing how you got involved with the pro-life movement, we'd really want to hear your story of getting involved.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be like completely transparent here and say, you sent me this question beforehand and I still don't have an answer. I went to bed last night trying to think, what is the earliest time I remember? And I remember it was Father Tom Lynch, who's now a head of Priests for Life. Before he was a priest, I think he was a seminarian, and he thought I was older than I was. And I was actually in grade 7, and he thought I was in high school and invited me to a multi-faith youth group they were trying to start in the pro-life movement. And I think it was either a first or second meeting was actually in a McDonald's. Like it was just like we just met anywhere we could find tables. And I've been doing that ever since. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing that you've been involved in different ways, I guess, or capacities since you were grade 7. That's really
the
cool.
family I was born into, you didn't get much of a choice. Like we were born and raised pro-life. It was unthinkable, unimaginable that anybody would think differently from me. And I was growing up, and I don't think it was a sign of the times. I don't think it was me being that naive. I think I really was very blessed in a community of just farmers and religious people who just saw things pretty black and white and right and wrong, and lots of gray area and forgiveness in between. And it was a small town, so it was just you knew everybody, you knew what their opinions were, and shared them. And so I was kind of always supported and surrounded by people who thought the same way as me. So my parents weren't active. My parents are raising 6 kids, but my aunt is Rosemary Connell, and she used to actually pick me up, or I would get a phone call from her or her brother, Father Tom Lynch, to go, okay, so we're all going to Niagara Falls. We're leaving in half an hour for a conference for pro-life, and if you could come. And actually how I came to Aid to Women, I didn't even realize it until I was working here for a couple of months, and then I saw something that looked familiar. I was like, I remember this. I was picked up in my car after I was actually married, and it was on maternity leave, and one of my old neighbors called me and said, like, I'm not even living in Lindsay anymore, but they still call and go, okay, so we're all going downtown. Could you come? Like, I know it's short notice, but we're leaving tomorrow at 7 in the morning. Bring your lunch. We're going to go do this. And I remember being on the street right outside here praying. So it's, more than once, I think. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
so you already, I guess, encountered or met Aid to Women staff
but
when you were young.
I didn't know what Aid to Women was. Like,
yes.
seriously, there's still an abortion clinic there. I'm not from Toronto. I couldn't even tell you where it was. I just remember being outside here because the buildings haven't changed that much at all.
Gotcha. That's very interesting because actually my story of getting involved, and a lot of people I know, it's very similar to yours. We were invited to do a pro-life stuff or to attend a pro-life event, without fully understanding. Like we've always been pro-life because of how we were raised, but we didn't really feel that passionate about the issue at that point.
Yeah.
It was through an invitation, and
Hmm.
then through our participation in that event that we grew to understand the issue more, and then eventually we became more and more involved and got active in the movement. That's really cool to hear. I also
It's
didn't know that Rosemary O'Connell is your aunt. That's really it's a really cool
so
fact.
yeah. So the first time I met her, she was dating my uncle Clayton, and I was their flower girl at their wedding.
That's so nice.
I was 2 years old.
That's really cool. That's really cool. If for those that are not familiar with Rosemary Connell, I believe she's the founder of Show the Truth.
I think so
Um,
too.
yes, yes. So Show the Truth has been active also for many years, showing the reality of abortion on streets across the country. Right. That's really cool. I did not know about that. Yeah. So maybe if you could share maybe about how did you get involved specifically with Aid to Women, and what is it like to work at Aid to Women?
Sure. So I saw the so let's remember, I've been here before, but I really didn't know what they did. Okay, I just did what I was told. Take a sign, do this, talk to women who come up to you, which is the scariest thing in the universe, um, and refer to the counselors. That's basically it. But I didn't. So anyway, skip. Goodness gracious, 25 years at least,
Mm.
and I'm doing youth ministry, and I'm talking to the secretaries, waiting for a priest in one of the parishes in Scarborough. And I picked up the Catholic Register for something to do because I was bored to tears waiting. Anyway, I opened up the Catholic Register, and there was a job. My job was actually posted in the Catholic Register, and it explained what it did, what Aid to Women did. Like it's the pastoral side of Aid to Women. We actually help the women till the child is 2 years of age. And I think I went to my phone from that tiny job ad and looked at it. Anyway, I didn't even apply for that job. But I went around to the secretaries going, look at this. This is what we should be doing. Forget about everything else. This is it. I don't want to buy another little like bookmark at the back of the church. This is how I want to help. And I didn't. And and it was actually 2 executive directors ago. She didn't. She found that she was better at doing other parts of the pro-life movement, but not as an executive director. So they posted the ad again. And so this is actually quite funny. I was sitting with a friend of mine, and he's like, you've been doing youth ministry for years, and you've kind of retired from that because you're feeling like old and gray. So that's really cool. You're a horrible housewife. You have to get back and do something. I was like, okay. So I'm in his car, and I'm looking at the ads and of what's coming up. And it was with the Archdiocese of Toronto. It was on their website. And it said that this job was here. And I had the same kind of burst with this guy driving. And he was like, whoa, come down. We're on the 401. But I was like, this is the job. This place, they actually help the women. Like, it's not just like lip service, like we should all, get behind, be pro-life. These people are actually doing something about it. So I was really impressed. And I applied, and I got a letter back saying that in fairness to the other applicants, they're not accepting my application because I applied after the very hard deadline. I think it was like 4 o'clock that afternoon. And I waited till I got home that night and then sent something in the mail about midnight. Nope, didn't want my application. So
Oh,
I was like, okay, well, I started praying for a challenge because I was, my friends are all right. I'm a terrible housewife. Like, I'm really a terrible housewife. I'm great with young adults. I am great at World Youth Days. I am great sleeping on the floor of a basement of a church in a sleeping bag. That's me. So I thought, I'm just not supposed to be here. And they called a week later. It was Mother's Day weekend on the Sunday, and said, we'd be interested in seeing your application after all. So I sent it in. I had 2 interviews, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday at UT, and then I was the executive director on the Friday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It seems like it was meant to be after all.
And the executive director was leaving to go to Poland on the Saturday morning. So I just had that Friday with her. And I thought, well, this is going to be an easy job. I've only got 6 clients. They're not even doing sidewalk counseling. The women walk upstairs to us, apparently. I'm going to finish my master's while I'm in Toronto. This is going to be great. And I was living in a terrible room and board situation in Etobicoke, and I was just because I was here. Like I have a lovely home, my own, and a house, but my husband was super supportive. He's the most patient man in the universe. And he goes, well, if that's where you're supposed to be, then that's where you're supposed to be. Like if God's calling you here, then you answer the call. So he's used to me answering all kinds of crazy calls, and this is just another one. So I came here and realized right away that there's not a lot going on because of the bill went through for the bubble zone legislation, so they could no longer be out in the street. They can't talk to women. They can't pray for the women out in the street. The legislation gets a little wonky after that, and I'm sure you know about it. So we need to change things. And one of the things the board asked me to do in my application, in my interview, was to change the website and how was I at social media. And I said, well, I've done it for youth ministry. That likely looks like Disney World compared to this, but I can do it. And I think I learned a lot from youth ministry that kind of flowed over. The right colors to use, the right fonts to use, that type of stuff to actually hit the exact same target market. It's young women in the ages between 14 and 35. And that's youth and young adult ministry in the church. Right. So I use that same thing, and sometimes it looks kind of unprofessional, and yet I get more women that way. Like I put something out there that is just like, so why would you admit that, Mary Helen, that you don't have enough volunteers that day? Or why would you admit that you need a stroller that day? Or, like those type of things, because it looks like you don't know what you're doing. At the same time, the women are seeing it and thinking, oh, she cares. Look how she goes out of her way to do things. And not just me, I just end up being the face of it. But I mean, there's some great counselors here. We rely on professional counselors and volunteers. And they used to say just counselors is somebody who was on the street, and that could have been you or me, and we would be trained by other volunteers, and then we would go out and we'd know what to do. And they'd been using the same language for 30 years, really. And it worked, and there was no problem there. But when I opened up the manuals and handbooks, I was like, if I said that to somebody, they'd walk away. They'd think I was a freak. It just, things change. Language changes. Everybody's cell phone right now, where 30 years ago they didn't. So the way that we were approaching women, I knew how to change. But now, because I can't go out in the street, how am I going to do it? So we took over the first floor, and I had really not much to do with that. I have a wonderful board who took care of that. So now we are, instead of just on the second floor, we're on the first floor as well. And we renovated it to be, I think the colors are called boho chic design. It's supposed to calm you right down. It's this off-white and I'm sorry, but a horrible shade of green that I would never put a kitchen cupboard in. But IKEA made one in that shade, and the designer thought, it was Lisa Canning who came in and designed it all back in her HGTV days, and she did an amazing job, and everything just flows together. Like, but if I was to pick it out, it would look horrible. Like when I first saw the kitchen cupboards, I know I'm really stuck on the kitchen cupboards, but the color, literally, you look at it and it's science, I guess. You just look at it and you kind of go, and that's what we kind of want the women to do when they come in the door. But I thought it had one of those like little blue films on it that you would pull off because the real color's underneath and it's just protective coat. No, that was the color.
Oh, I see.
I cried when I first saw it because I didn't think there wasn't painting or anything done around it, and the matching furniture didn't go. And now you look at it as a complete set and go, yeah, and that's why you're not a designer, Mary Helen. That's why you're here.
I must say, I've seen your new website, like when you took over, and I haven't seen your office or new office, your renovated place, but I've seen it from the outside, and it does definitely look much better, and it's very welcoming compared to the abortion clinic that's right beside you.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing like that kind of dynamic? How does that, affect your work, or what does your day look like, considering that there's an abortion clinic right beside the pregnancy center?
It's sometimes like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Like, do you remember on the that the cartoon of the Willie Coyote would show up for work, and there was a sheepdog, I believe it was, and they go, "Hi, Sam. Hi, Willie," and they clock in, and then one would try and kill all the sheep and eat them all day, and one would try and protect the sheep all day. That is literally my life right now. I park my car in the backyard, and I get out and I say, "Good morning" to the staff that's parking. They have to drive across the back of my lot to get into their parking lot. And so I say good morning to them all. And, one day they're going to say good morning back, and it's going to be awesome. But yeah, every morning. And they don't know what to think of me because I don't, I can't really protest, but it doesn't help the women either. There's all kinds of things that I learned in the pro-life movement that I would do that are more educational, that I can do when I'm at the March for Life, or if I'm, doing 40 Days for Life or something like that, and words I can use that I can't use here because the women are too freaked out. So I really have to look about the way I dress, make sure that I'm not dressed like high heels and, that kind of thing. I wear my sweater around a lot, and I drink a lot of coffee, and I hang around the front door, and I'm welcoming. And I think half of them look at me as like their grandmother, and that's cool, whatever it takes. And then there's other, I have other staff. All my staff is younger than me and amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, they were really good at being able to seek out the ones that, and very quickly make a connection with somebody who trusts somebody who's younger than me. So we've had a lot of great success that way. So what happens is when I open downstairs is this is not us, okay? Like, I am the one in charge of the stupid website and social media, and I know I am not doing that well as far as, like, I don't have millions of likes, and I'm not trending or anything like that. But whatever we're doing is working. So we have a lot of women who say, well, I saw your website, well, I saw your thing on Instagram, but they're not liking it. And so I'm like, oh, that's okay, as long as it's working. Like, I saved our life. So if I get 43 hits on something really clever that I've put up there, I'm like, that's amazing, because I know I saw one mom. So that I'm happy with that. Any case, this part is all God, not me, because I'm not this clever. Somehow, when I was doing things with setting up like the mapping, where we are and all of that, when people are using their phone in their GPS, they end up coming to my door instead of the abortion clinic. So I could see all 8 women that are scheduled to have an abortion next door before they go to the abortion clinic. And it's rather jarring. They come in and they go, hi, I have an appointment. And it might be like 7:30 in the morning. I have an appointment for 8, and I just got here a little early. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So what counselor are you with? Oh, I don't remember her name. Are you here for pre-abortion counseling? Because that's what I call it. And they're like, yeah, I think they did say that. I'm like, okay, great. And but we always make them sign a form, making sure that they know that this is not the abortion clinic. I'm not fooling around with that. And the truth is that at one point before coronavirus, we were so busy, they could have had an appointment, and I didn't even have time to check the book at the front reception office. Like, I would just like bring them on through, going, oh, here's Nancy, she's here to see Rachel. Rachel will go, I don't have anybody named Nancy in my book today, so do you have an opening? She's like, yes, I got like 20 minutes. I'm like, great. Welcome, Nancy. You want a cup of tea? And go from there. But the truth is I have 13 seconds to get them to the back couch before they are just like, oh, I'm in the wrong place. I'm so sorry. And they leave. They always apologize. They came to the wrong place. Boyfriends are the funniest because they will look at their phone even after I've been very explicit. This is not the abortion clinic. They will argue with me, but my phone says I'm here. And I'm like, well, maybe you're supposed to be here, but I don't do abortions. I don't even know what an abortionist looked like. I don't think I look like one. I'm not going to be aborting your baby. We're not medical. I'm like very clear with them. So, but this is what we do is we offer you other options, because the last thing we want you to do, we want to be just really clear, and we care about you. And I'm talking about the woman, because we want to make sure you don't regret this. Like, this is a huge decision. And so usually when I say regret, you can see them kind of like wake up a little bit, or, you know, they're like, oh, because they're expecting, if they think that I'm pro-life, or, you know, they start seeing pictures of like the books I have around are on, and pamphlets are all about support after your abortion, grief after your abortion, what the first 9 months is like. And there's a lot of like joyful stuff related to a baby. And what we make it very clear by the pamphlets and everything that come in the door is that we're not judging. We just want what's best for you. And I personally feel what's best for everybody is to have their baby, because I'm pro-life. But I never mention I'm pro-life. I don't wear a cross. We don't have a lot of religious stuff up on our walls. We actually, I think we have one little prayer card of Mary on our kitchen cupboards, the ugly ones I told you about. Yeah, and she looks beautiful on the ugly cupboards, because she's the same, her veil's the same color as the cupboards, believe it or not. It's really remarkable. In any case, we hope when they come in and don't see a lot of things on the walls, they just see exactly what I need them to see. You know, white walls, some pink flowers for life, and all of our pamphlets and stuff around, that they're in the right place. We are professional. We know what we're doing. We're not just people who are going to pray for them and send them on their way. So that's what they see when they come in.
Do you mind? I remember you mentioning this to me before, a story or two of women that you've met or who've been helped by Aid to Women. I know you had, I think, a recent encounter maybe a few months ago or last year. Do you mind sharing one of those encounters?
I've had so many, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. So.
Well, you could share any encounters you've had. That would be appreciated.
Okay, so the hardest thing for me is when they come in. When I first started, was trying to figure out, if I can't get them to change their mind or even consider it, then why did God just send them through the door? Did I just fail? And I've gotten over that a lot. I've really say to anybody who's in the pro-life movement, make sure that you have a good support system behind you, and that you are really taking care of yourself, and get a spiritual advisor, somebody who doesn't mind you phoning them and going, so I think I let 6 people die today because I had a head cold or something like that. You need that, because you can't even pretend that you don't know what happened after they left. Like, you can't pretend at all. This wall, the reason I'm doing this here is because this wall here is what separates me from the abortion clinic. So the abortions are actually happening right behind my head. And so when you hear noises the other side of the wall in an old building, you're kind of like, wonder if that's the girl who just came in. Like, it's really rough. In any case, 2 stories. So one not that great, and then I'll follow up with some good ones. Yesterday, I had a woman come in who was 18 weeks pregnant, and she looked very pregnant at 18 weeks. I told her that she's at the wrong place. She's like, oh, I'm so stupid. And I said, no. I said, maybe there's a reason you're here. And I said, I just tell you what we do. So we do pre and post-abortion counseling. Post-abortion, because we don't want we don't want to see anybody here for post-abortion counseling. We don't want you to, screw up the rest of your life or whatever with this, and or regret it for the rest of your life. And she was like, no, I'm bipolar. I can't have this baby. And I said, who told you that? And she said, it's just known. You cannot have a baby. You're bipolar. It can't happen. I said, I'm pretty sure that we could find you a doctor who could tell you the opposite. And so I use that a lot of, that's a doctor here, medical doctor whose specialty is in killing babies. And our doctors that we refer to are the specialty of saving babies. So let's, before we make any conclusions that, there's something wrong with the baby, let's see a doctor. So anyway, she ended up crying and yelling at me. She said, we're drug addicts. Like, you don't understand. We've already screwed up. And I said, it's not too late. You haven't screwed up yet. And I said, we've had women, and that's true. Like we network with everybody we can think of in the city. I don't care if they're pro-life or not. If they can help a woman, thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And so we've had one or two, at one particular that went through drug rehab counseling and came out on the other end, one of the strongest women I've ever met. She was a beautiful little boy. She's a beautiful little boy. And but it was like in-house, like she was housed in the facility and everything and had her baby. And even after she had the baby, she was still there and for support and stuff. So it was like a remarkable thing. So we did our support and we worked with other agencies so that she had her baby. This one didn't work out that way. She ended up yelling at me and saying, I'm just, please stop making me change my mind. And I said, I can't change your mind. I don't have that power, but like, you can only do that. And I really care about you. With someone else that would have worked with her, there was so much going on that no matter what I said, like even every obstacle she put in front of me, I was able to say, but we can talk about that. I bet we have a solution for that too. Like, whatever you want, housing, doesn't matter. We'll take care of that child in you until the child's 2 years old. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work yesterday. And she left in tears. So I likely sent a woman over to the abortion clinic, bawling her eyes out, feeling guilty about what she's doing and still going ahead doing it, if that makes any sense. I've been told many times that I have to let that go. And this is by priests, because you don't know what God has for each person as their journey. Like maybe that's her bottom. She's going to have the abortion and that's going to be the horrible thing. And she might end up being a saint later. You never know. And look at Abby Johnson. Like, there's so many examples of people in the abortion industry where you'd think there would be no redemption. It came back being our shining light and examples of, leading the way on how we should act and that. So wow. That didn't work out. But another story of one that did was a woman walked in the wrong door and she was 8 months pregnant and her name was Elizabeth. And she had not bought maternity clothes. And so she couldn't even really sit down. She had her jeans open, but she could barely, like the zipper open, but she could barely sit down. And she just kept putting it off because she really didn't want to have an abortion, but felt there was no way around it. And she said she knew that for quite a long time. So her plan, which didn't come to fruition, thank God, was to have the abortion and then kill herself. Because she knew that she wouldn't be able to handle the guilt of having the abortion, but she didn't know what else to do. So thank God she walked through the right door. And she's even asked me to be the baby's godmother now. And I'm kind of like, I can't do that. That's like, it's kind of crossing the line too much, like you're my client. But I do love her so much. And so what I did with her was we talked, just a general intake. She wanted to talk. She wanted to do the counseling. And so I asked, have you ever thought about having an abortion? And she goes, what other choice do I have? And then she told me about her whole life, what's going on. And she was very alone. And the house that she was staying in was not very good. She had it sounded like a rooming house situation. She was new to Toronto, and they just figured out she was pregnant, the landlord, and she told her, look, there's not going to be any babies here. We don't have babies in my building. And so there was like that on top of not having money, not being able to get a job. The father of the child is gone, like really gone. So anyway, it was such a great thing, great pro-life thing. Another couple, I phoned them. I kind of have them on speed dial. I know they have a bedroom set up in their house. They have for over 20 years. They're like my underground railroad for pregnant women. And they have a bedroom set up for a mom and baby at all times in their house, like it's a doctor. And so his wife said, well, I'll ask my husband. And they got back to me like in 5 minutes and said, I think we'd like to meet her. And so they met with her. And an hour later, they had arranged for, I think, people they know. I don't think it was another company, came with a truck, moved her out of that apartment and into their home and made her part of the family. And I said, well, okay, thank you so much. Like, how much do we owe you? We're thinking I'm going to have to pay rent or something to them because it's the first time I'd ever used them. And they said, no, we'll arrange that with her, which she can afford. And so it ended up being like $100 a month or something crazy like that. And she lived there as part of their family. And I said, well, how long can she stay? Should I keep looking for another place? She can stay here until as long as she needs to. I said, well, how long is that? As long as she needs to. So that was wonderful. So now she needed that self-confidence to get going, that she could do this. She could be a mom on her own. And she's brilliant. And she's even gone back to school and has her child in beautiful daycare, like a really good daycare as well. I was very, very impressed. And that woman that I saw that was so depressed and would not even buy maternity clothes because she knew one of these days I have to have the abortion. It was like 2 days later. I use Citrus of Life. They're also my secret weapon because they're so joyful. And this lady had absolutely nobody supporting her. Like, there's no baby showers, there's no nothing. Nobody in her life that was supportive of this pregnancy. So we don't have maternity clothes. I do this on purpose. If we get really nice maternity clothes donated, I actually give it to the Sisters of Life. And then when I have somebody like an Elizabeth, and I think they need that extra boost, I send them over to the Sisters of Life for to get maternity clothes. And then they meet 8 more people that are so joyful and happy that they're going to have that baby. And we don't call it a fetus, we call it a baby. And I guess she did. One of the sisters phoned me and she goes, you won't believe it. She walked in as one woman and walked out as another in our clothes. And she did like a little fashion show for us with clothing, and she had tea, and I was getting phone calls from her crying. She couldn't believe how great everybody's been to her and how she really thought she'd be dead by that day, that she was going to kill herself.
Yeah,
So
I'm so glad that she walked into your door and not the abortion clinic's door. And you guys pretty much saved not only her child's life, but her life as well.
And her child is a whole other personality in the universe. Like, this child is so cute, and he sticks out his hand and says, good morning, ma'am. And it's just he's just adorable little man.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so encouraging to hear. And thank you for sharing that. Maybe I have maybe a few minutes left, but I was wondering if you could share maybe the number of people you've saved or helped in the past year, because I know you did not stop working even during a pandemic, even though it's been so hard for you. Do you mind sharing like how many people have you helped in the past year?
We've saved 56 babies in the last year, so that's more than one a week.
Wow.
And I saw more women than that, but as I explained in the first story, I don't always win. Right. But I'm pretty happy with the ones that I did. It's 2 kindergarten classrooms.
That's true.
If you're all in one neighborhood, I could go visit them all at once, like 2 kindergarten classrooms with children. I don't know. It's pretty amazing because some of them are they're past that 1 year mark. And so they're starting to, I don't see them all the time. I don't have time, but with coronavirus also, I didn't have a lot of delivery people to do because they're scared of getting sick. Like a lot of my drivers stopped. So I started delivering the packages myself. And so then I get to see the babies, you see. So it's actually, it was kind of joyful. And oh, they are all so different as well. And some of their moms, like the amazing things they've done, like going back to school, getting a really great job, or figuring it out somehow. Like one of them's in a really cute little apartment. And during coronavirus, I phoned her and I said, like when we first went down, I was like, okay, just give me your emergency list of what you need this month. What size is your baby and what do you need? And this one mom, her baby was turning 2, and she said, I think I'm going to be okay. Like I've got a job, and same kind of story. Her child's in a daycare down the street in a Catholic school, and she's actually met somebody now, and she's got a nice little apartment, and maybe I could give my stuff to somebody else. And I was like, you not needing me is a huge gift.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge gift. Like what a graduation surprise that is. Like you don't need me. And I was just so thrilled.
Oh, that's I'm so glad to hear that. That's amazing. Not only you've helped her, with her child, but also turn her life, around. That's incredible. I'm so thankful for the work you do. Maybe as we close this live stream, I was wondering if you could share with the people who are watching or will be seeing this video later, how they can support Aid to Women. What's the best way to support the work, the essential work that you do?
I'm going to be really honest and say donations are really critical right now. And I'm talking monetary donations. When coronavirus hit last March, we had 12 baby bottle campaigns out in the churches, and they bring in 75% of our income. And that stopped dead. We had to close our gala. That was another huge hunk of income that we were counting on. And you see, the reason that I was aiming for such high numbers is because we have more women coming through the door than ever before. It was like a 300% increase or something like crazy like that of women that we were saying when we changed things around completely. So I can't say no to the women. And I'm not going to cut back on diapers or anything else for these women. I'm not going to stop using a registered social worker if she needs a registered social worker or a psychologist or something like that. Like, we need to be here for these people. So I'm asking, if people are truly pro-life, and I know your audience is, to put their money where their mouth is, and please donate to us here at Aid to Women. Every dollar really matters right now.
Yeah.
And I've actually, our staff made the decision to lay ourselves all off during coronavirus. And so we gave up our salaries so that we did not have to cut our services for the women. And so that's how dedicated we are. And we are not looking for kudos for that. I'm trying to say that's how desperate it is here. I would love to move and not put all our money into rent. But if I were not here right beside the abortion clinic, all the other pregnancy care centers and you guys and Campaign Life and everybody else doing a really great job putting the messages out there. There's so many women I don't see. The ones that I see are the ones that already have an abortion scheduled, or they're walking in the door to schedule an abortion appointment. If I'm not here in this crappy building, and it is a crappy building, like it really is, but I have to be here, because if we didn't, we would miss out on Elizabeth and 56 other moms in the last year. So I got to pay the extraordinary rent here no matter what.
Right. Wow. And that's why, if you are able to donate financially to Aid to Women, please go to their website, www.aidtowomen.ca. You can also see their phone number on the screen. It should be there. And just want to say thank you, Mary Helen, for all the sacrifices and the hard work, and for persevering through a difficult situation that we're in, and to continue helping all those women who need that help and encouragement in order to choose life. Thank you so much. I think I can't thank you enough for the work that you do. It's just so inspiring to hear that, but also it's so encouraging
Yeah.
that A2Women
And
is there for
and
women.
I thank everybody else that's in the pro-life movement as well, because if they're not doing their jobs, like the educational wing, the political wing, all of it, and the other pastoral groups that are out there, I don't even have to tell a woman when a heartbeat starts anymore, because people like you put all that information out there. And everybody's looking on the websites and the internet. So I thank you, everybody who's putting that out there. I only have 13 seconds, usually 13, 20 seconds to talk to a woman. So you guys are doing the heavy lifting from the other end.
Yes, no, I agree. All the arts of the movement are so crucial in changing the culture and saving lives. Again, thank you, Mary Helen, for being here with us and for sharing your experience and your story. I really appreciate it. And again, if you're watching this video and you want to support A2Women, please go and visit their website or call them. The information is on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys can tune in to the live stream that we have this evening, where I'll talk about how we can talk and reach to women who have been wounded by abortion. That's it for now. I hope you guys have a lovely afternoon. Thank you.